Hello, everyone. We are here today in a different interview because this time I'm with Daniel Weinmann, and together we'll be talking with Daniel Wildt, who is Chief Heart Officer of You Move Me and is right now writing a book about work, how to organize the work we are doing at these times. So, hello, Daniel. And Daniel?
Yeah, you can say DW and DW, quote or something like that. The way we used to talk to each other using boards a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's very good to talk to you guys. We were sharing comments using LinkedIn, and it was great we start engaging like let's talk, yeah, and here we are. So it's happening.
It's awesome. Yeah. So I just wanted to give some context to everyone. We are like old friends here. At least I feel like I know you both for my whole life. And also we're doing two things at the same time here. Daniel want to interview us for his book, and we want to interview him about probably the same things we're going to talk about, which is remote work and what to do during this present situation and how to think about it, and etc. So it's going to be fun.
Who wants to start the questioning? I got one.
Great.
I was thinking about when I was thinking about the book. There's a chapter called Real Life, and the idea of the chapter is to share information about companies and how they are doing their work, and just as the real life. Because as I see a bunch of companies share information on LinkedIn or other social medias, they're all promoting what they are doing to get people to work with them or something like that. But I was like, that's not the real life. Most of the companies doing that. And if you ask 2 or 3 questions, you see that it's all fake. So when I think about companies, I look at the core. So what is happening? And the core, to me, it's all about the principles, how the thing is built, bottom up. And I know Daniel and I know Pedro for a long time, and I know they are all built based on principles and values. So I would like to think about season it and ask you guys, what are the main principles you guys have working in the company, and how I know there's kind of a manifesto written in a paper something. You did something like that, right? I'd like to see that story being told.
Awesome. So I do have a text written that I wrote. It was actually on the back of our incorporation papers. I wrote manually while my mobile phone was discharged. And that text is called Beyond Technical Founders. And it talks about it's more like poetry about what does it mean to call someone a non-technical founder? What does it mean to say someone is not technical when they actually are very technical in their things? They're just not programmers. And what does this say about the biases? I don't know if there's a plural to the word bias, but about the bias we have in the startup world against business people. For a long time, the bias was almost against technical people. I'm talking about decades ago. But for about 20 years now, we have kind of a bias against business people. And it's ridiculous, right? Because we're building businesses. But I wouldn't say this talks a lot about our principles in our vision, and reflects, it's a reaction to something. But when it comes to the company, I think the principles are much more about how we do things than about why we do things, or about to whom we provide services. And we don't, being a small company, we're 12 people now, and being a small company, we don't necessarily have the principles written down, and they are changing every day. But I do feel we have a core of respect, of autonomy, and of service. Very strong ethos about service in our company, and about quality as well, which translates to design. For example, in recent times, design becomes very important. Beauty, aesthetics, it's all in our culture for sure. I don't think we talk enough about it.
If you do enough, if you do like every day, it's awesome, And I think that when we share this way, what comes when you think about the company, what comes up, it may change from time to time, but these words here: respect, autonomy, service, quality, beauty. It's Daniel Weinmann as a professional. So to me, it's like I said, it's directly related. When you think about the same thing as I said, Pedro, if you look at the beauty, the autonomy, the service, everything you guys do, you try to get the maximum quality and think about that. I'm not just saying this because I'm your friend. Like I know you guys for a long time. I see what you do and how you do. I remember I was in you're gonna remember this one. It was like 2010. I was having lunch in a fast food alone. I never eat alone. I was like, I'm eating alone for the first time, and I was there eating. And Daniel comes in like, he was Doc from Back to the Future, something like that. And he was like, Marty, you have to come, something like that. It was weird. And he was like, I'm building something. And you remember this, right?
I do.
I'm building something. What it is, I'm building something. And he was building the first Brazilian crowdfunding platform, using his own hands, doing all the stuff and building all that. And it's beauty, it's art, it's design, it's serving a community. This is the whole package. That's one example. So I see the struggle when you are a non-technical founder and you have that idea, but you can go all in because you don't have the tools, you don't have the resources, the intelligence to to play with different code and all the stuff. But that's I see
or the relationships, right?
Yeah, it's very important. You can have the right technology, but if you don't know who wants it or how you can engage to your community, you don't have nothing. So that's another very good. But it's awesome. It's awesome to see you guys sharing this type of when you think about principles and values. I think respect is something that lots of companies are lacking, like a lot. When I decided to get the chief heart officer as a name, I'm studying this name for, I don't know, 2 years, I guess, or something like that. And almost 1 year ago, I was talking to my partner at You Move Me, and we start telling, would you come back? He was asking me just like that, would you come back? And I was like, it depends. And he was like, it depends on what? I want to do something that is completely different from what I have ever done in any other place. And I shared with him my ideas. And it was not actually my ideas. It's a bunch of, mixed stuff. And looking at Claude Silver from VaynerMedia and all those kind of concepts. And he was like, so you want to come HR? And I was like, no. It's not HR. Actually, I want to drop the HR department. I want us to not have a HR department. People take care of people. And he was like, that's tough. I know. And that's the cool thing about it, And I was like, if we make a place where people can be who they are, and I'm doing this question a lot of times, like, how long, are you able to be who you really are? This is a tough question because we are always trying to adapt. And I started reading Brené Brown because of Daniel and also because of Felipe. And there was that thing about, you need to belong. You need to belong. It's not about fitting in. You need to be part of the thing. You need to belong.
Yeah.
And I was like that, I want to build this place, which is remove me, but I want people to understand that they belong here. They are part of this. The culture is what we do. It's not what's written in the walls or on the walls or something like that. So it's about what we do. And it's about how do you build space to people to share what they are thinking? How can you connect and build these networks that you can activate and play with them? So it's not directly related to hierarchy or who is boss from whom or who works with me. It's about confidence. How do you feel about sharing what you feel? How are you feeling with someone else? Share what you are thinking right now with someone else. How do you talk about that difficult stuff with people? So it's all tough, It's and he was like, "Do you really want to do that? Like, don't you want to come back to technology or something?" No. I want to do that. It's much harder, Having people being who they are, building a place where people can be 100% all in, and yeah, I know that sense of ownership. No. They are not owners. They are responsible. We are owners. We can decide to have no money at the end of the month because we want to do something else in the company. They don't choose that. So it's a lot of decisions that we start working on and thinking about how we build this. How can we build this? So it's a daily process. How can I get the problem and start having discussions and then move to different directions, and it takes time. Have you talked to that person? No. Why not? He's not ready. I have to wait a couple of days. But you have to talk to the person. Wait. So patience comes along a lot of times, I don't see space. I can't talk to her right now. It's so I'm on a daily process of non-violent communication a lot, having people to share thoughts, having people to share feelings. Even my partner, which is kind of a rock, and he's starting to being able to share more stuff with me, and it's very good. It's awesome, I see people evolving, which is the greatest thing, and not on the technical side. Technical side, it's okay. You do by your own. It's what you do for your whole life, But how do you evolve as a human? How can you connect more with what you do and the people that you are working with? So it's very challenging, but I'm having a lot of fun doing that. So it's been a good day and good times doing that.
And I can imagine that must be translating to a better capability of sustaining the company right now, like the culture and relationships and the well-being of each person in the company. Because I've been thinking a lot about this. I think what's happening right now in the world translates somehow to how do each of us how each of us is regarding meaning. What we are doing has meaning. It is fulfilling. Is it fulfilling for ourselves or not? And because I think that what we're seeing is with people being more isolated, is that you have to see your shadows, and you have to be well to keep working, and productivity is dropping for everyone mostly. So I do think that if we can take better care of the relationships, and if we have a better understanding about what moves us, and how this question of how we do the work we do, this can be really, really helpful. So I imagine that you're seeing something about this.
Yeah, we are seeing like people are looking more their peers, to their colleagues, to ask for things or share how they are feeling. It is a process, but it's also look at it as a network. Like I need to be there for some people so they can be there for other people, and this goes along the whole weekend. And maybe one day I'm not that good, but someone else is. So I don't need to be happy every day and be, oh, I'm all good every single time. No, I'm not. So there are times where, Daniel, can you take on this meeting and tell us what to do? No, I'm not good today. So if someone else can do that, that would be great. And if you are able to say this kind of thing, because some of the how can he tell that he's not feeling okay? What is he thinking? And and we need to understand that we are living a whole different life right now. It's not something that is expected, or we are always. Usually, we ask a lot about how we are doing, and our focus and our objectives and our goals and all that stuff. And the only thing I ask people now is try to do less. Every single day, try to do the least possible amount of job that you can do every day. And by that, I mean that it's not you can still do 4, 5, 6, 8 hours of work in a day, but you need to focus. Like if you think you are going to be able to take on 3, 4, 5 different subjects in a day, you will not. So you get your energy drained much faster. You have a lot of interruptions. You have other things to be occupied or preoccupied. Like you are doing a meeting and you just look at WhatsApp, and your father is going somewhere. He's in the supermarket. What the fuck are you doing in a supermarket? Like, and you want to drop off that meeting, and you can't. So you call your mom. Mom, what's happening? Why is he on the supermarket? So it's a lot of things going on, and we have families. We have people we want to care about, and we have the stuff we need to do. So it is very important that I'm a person that is always joking. I'm always joking. And it happened that I did a joke in a WhatsApp group, and someone dropped the group. And I was like, whoa, what I did. And I did a joke that hits the person, right in the eye. And I was like, man, sorry, man. it's the first message in the morning. I didn't talk to you before. Really sorry. And we talk, and but it's very sensitive. We are living in very sensitive times right now. So everything we do, you can multiply by 10. Everything. If you yell for something, that's gonna be a hard time for someone. You can be good, but you never know what's gonna happen after. So it's a difficult time. So I think about this as doing less, sleep more, do less, something like that.
I just thought of something, and we have an expression in Portuguese that I think people would like to know about it. We say that when we're very sensitive and like our feelings are about to come out, right? We say we're at the flower of the skin. Literally, it would be like this. And I wanted to share this expression with people because I think everybody today is at the flower of the skin. I don't know why do we say this, but it's it's a beautiful set of words.
Yeah, that's true. And we're in a very difficult political space here in Brazil. Everything you say, but so it's a very tough time a very good time to practice your communication and how you can engage with people you love and stay connected, even if they think different than you. But it's a very tough time. And but even being like that, we need to continue sort of building our businesses, and we need to continue providing what we need to provide to us and to people that are with us. And so I believe right now, if you look at the startup space, it's the time to narrow options and think really about what am I going to do. It's like I have a lot of options. No, you don't have that much options anymore. You need to focus and be really, how can I do this with the least amount of time to have some sort of value generated for someone. And then you can get to the next round of meetings and get more customers and start doing the round, play with the business. But it's a very, very tough moment for this too,
Yeah, that connects with something I've been thinking about recently. And when when I heard, I think it was Pedro that said that everybody is less productive right now. I wanted to run something by you because what's happening to me, the past 3 or 4 weeks, is that I'm actually less productive because I can. I'm doing this in the middle of the living room of my in-laws, right? And I work in the living room with my daughter crying right beside me, all this stuff. But one thing that I started to notice is that I'm less productive only on the tasks that feel like a chore, and I'm getting much more creative. And I don't know if it's the sense of urgency that the times bring, or if it is the sense of YOLO, you only live once, right? And now I won't do, for example, a very simple example. I've been thinking in my mind ever since we started Seasoned that we would eventually need a custom project management tool, which is something that every bit of common sense says, oh no, there are so many tools, you don't need to build your own, right? That doesn't make sense to build yet another project management tool. But suddenly I'm in the middle of management storm at the company, because it's the need for management became, I don't know, quadrupled recently, because of everything we're talking about, and also because of the difference in the type of clients we're having right now. So they have more stakeholders, and our management needs quadrupled. Last week, I didn't think twice. I just started creating the tool we need. And I knew why I needed to do it custom. No tool will give me what I want, because it's very specific to the way we work, right? And I know intuitively, I know the investment will pay off, right? Because I'm already seeing in my mind. But today we launched it after about 1 week. We launched it with 2 clients already. But I'm already seeing that I'm gonna save time, and by building a better experience, people will learn faster, and we won't have to manage as much in terms of talking to people and needing to put out fires, etc., etc. But I wanted to bring this example because I don't think I would have done it in normal times. I think I would have said, let's bring one more manager. Let's bring someone else. Let's try and use money, use the resources we have to expand. And right now I say, oh no, there's no way I'm going to be inefficient when I know there's a way of being more efficient. If I didn't know, there wouldn't be a problem. But I'm seeing the way that will make us more efficient. There's no way I'm going to spend our precious cash that right now it's giving us much more than survival. It's giving us a sense of security,
tranquility. I would say tranquility. I love that word.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna waste it. I'm gonna, even if I have to work. Yesterday I worked up to 2 a.m. to build this. I was creating something, and it felt like meaningful work. Are you guys starting to see this other side of this? We're less productive in the day-to-day chores, but we're like, our heads are starting to need to be more creative.
Yeah, you know what's happening to me is that I've changed my sleeping habits. Started last year, and so I'm sleeping earlier, and I'm waking up some days 7 a.m., some days 6 a.m., some days happens to be 5:30. It depends. But what I do, the most important thing is that I don't use an alarm clock for, I don't know, 6 months or something like that. I have the alarm clock set, which is like, whoa, you just fuck up, wake up, something like that.
The latest time possible.
Yeah, and it's after the less responsible moment. It's it's really, you just did shit. Wake up. You have to go. But it's good because I'm writing a lot more. I'm doing my journaling process is going pretty well. Like I walk around the house with my notebook. It's like I'm always taking notes and thinking and doing stuff. And I'm launching 3 new communities as we are talking. Like I had this meeting today, and we are going to launch it next week. And it's moving. Everything is moving. Much because I'm having all the restrictions I have based on time. I can do all the work I want to do. I don't have the time available to do everything I want. I know that I have at most 1 hour after I stop talking to you guys before my son wakes up, and I have to take care of him. And it's all the things I this is a side project. There's a main life going on, and we have lots of side projects. So I am using a lot of the first hours in the morning to make things happen. And the belief that I just have 2 or 3 hours a day to do real job, to do real work, it's making a lot of difference in my life. I never said the amount of no's I'm saying. I said one hell yeah 3 weeks ago. The concept hell yeah or no?
Yeah.
Have you heard that from Derek Sivers? Derek Sivers sent me an email, and he asked me if I want to review his Portuguese book. And I was like, hell yeah! So I read the book like in 2-3 days. I don't know. It's awesome. It's more you as a musician, Daniel. You're gonna love the book, But when I read the book, I was like, this is for someone founding a startup. This is for someone who do creative work, not just musicians. Musicians do creative work, and I'm building my place here, but we do creative work too. We do stuff here. We are always trying to just setting up my drums and my keyboards. I have my guitar there. It's happening. I found time to do this. My drums were, I don't know, for more than 6 months, they were below a lot of things here, and now they're free. So when we think about creative work, we have the time now, but we need to focus much more. So I think this is good, and we don't need to think that we don't have time. The question is, what is your priority? One. And so I stopped doing to-do lists. I don't have to-do lists anymore. I just choose one thing to do. Base it on context, time in the morning, I wake up and I decide that. But it's based on what I'm gonna do right now. And this is a question I have for you guys. Like, what is your check-in process? How do I know that you started working, or how do I know that you are not there anymore? How do you guys keep the flow of work? If you need help, if you need someone to tell you something, how is the asynchronous process going on with you guys?
In terms of specific check-in, like when is somebody working, we don't know if somebody's working. Sometimes they are online on Slack, but they're not working. Sometimes they're offline on Slack and they are working. And this is definitely something we don't know, and we don't feel we need to know. But we do have a process for saying hi to the team, which is you go to the random channel on Slack and say hi to the team, right? You don't go to your project's channel. This is something we learned from, forgot the name of Zapier's founder. We learned from in a talk by him.
Don't remember the name too, but I know what you're talking about. Very good.
Yeah. And then it makes a lot of sense, because then, one, you're not messing up with the context of the project on the main channel, the project's channel, right? Because you don't have a lot of highs in the middle of very important questions. Second, you're not talking only with your immediate colleagues, you're talking to the whole team, right? And third, you are creating an incentive for people to talk about things that are not work, because random is the channel for that. So when you use it more, people start using it even more, and then they start sending them links to each other or just commenting something, chit-chatting, right? And that's the process for saying hi.
This is very good.
Wow.
I was one of the things we used to have a place to go to get some coffee at the company when we were physically co-located, and whenever we start working, everybody working from home, using home as a kind of an office, but it's not. it's something very, very weird at this moment. But I have created a channel called, would say, Little Coffee, which is cafezinho, would say the word, something like that. And it would be
like
something
water
like
cooler,
the random,
right?
yeah,
like the water
something like something like the random channel you guys have, and I do some sort of interactions there once in a while, and what I see, but it's a process for get things going more and more, and having more people to share how they're doing and what they're doing or something like that. I saw one thing from the guys from Basecamp. One of the check-ins they have is like a once a month. The tool asks them people about the books you have read that you want to share with people, or something you have watched that. How was your weekend or something like that? And they have this context, so if you answer that check-in, someone can comment and talk to you about your specific check-in. So it is something I found valuable too. I use Basecamp for myself, and I have sort of a check-ins. One of my journals is one of the check-ins. I every day at night it shouts at me and tell me 3 things you found great about today, and tell me 3 things you want to set as something to be more aware tomorrow. So those are that is one of my check-ins I do on a daily basis. It helps me, and I like to think about a tool that bring the questions, and I just have to think about this. Yeah, let's think about this. I love questions about that.
We also have some processes for keeping in touch with people, even though we don't have a daily check-in or something. I think almost, I don't know if all of the teams we have working in different projects, but I think almost all of them have a daily meeting just to see if there are is there anything blocked with anyone, and how can we help each other. We also have some of us have You Can Book Me, like it's a website where you can like arrange a meeting with the other person, and so we have our calendars available just for us to meet and talk a little bit. We also have a weekly vision meeting that we talk about. We ask questions to each other. And
it's like a Q&A for the whole company. Anybody can ask anybody another question. Sometimes, many times with announcements at the beginning and then the Q&A. Yep. But we do have a weekly vision meeting, yep, which is named after that, so we don't get stuck into the petty stuff, right? We're talking about visualizing what we want to do.
We also have a weekly learning session that it's not always that we do that, but sometimes people just gather to share what they have learned in that week, and it's not work related. You can be anything that you have learned, and it's just a gathering to get to know each other better. And since last week, I have started scheduling one meeting with each person. Maybe for some of the people it will be weekly, and for some it will be bi-weekly. But just to be able to listen how they are, like to have a secure space for people to share what they are feeling, how they're dealing with stuff, and to celebrate and to share their griefs and everything. And so we are experiencing this as a way to have a secure space. Like this is a space that we can talk about how the team is in general terms, but we will not get into the specific that is shared with me. So I'm trying to be this extra space of security for people to share, and to be someone that can be together with each person to help to process things. Like, I do think that we as human beings, we have a lot to gain when we have company to process our stuff. We have a limited capability of processing things on our own. It's great to be able to process some things, and we need to be alone sometimes, but to have a space that the other person, the person that is listening to you, is not going to try and get things done, solve things for you, and it's not paying attention to the judgment that is going in your head. It's like letting it flow, letting it to the side, because it just wants to be with you. And it has a lot to do with the process of nonviolent communication that you share with us. But we are experiencing this, and it's I have already tried this before, but now we are more structuralized with it.
Very good. Yeah, I'm sort of doing that with some of the people, and it's very curious because I schedule, and some of the people come up to me. So what is the topic? No, I just want to know how you're doing. And the people start sharing about their tasks, and I'm like, no. I just want to know how you were doing. I don't care what you do right now. I know you were doing what you need to do. That's not the case. I just want to, to chat, and that's it. And it's kind of it's for some people it's still weird. They're like, yeah, really? You don't want to? I know I'm late for something, but I'm finishing it. No. I'm cool. Like, I know you're doing your best, so I don't need to ask that. This is some of the. If you look at the principles, it's one of my principles. I always believe that the people are doing their best. Always. I will never ask. I don't think you're doing your best. Like, that's not gonna happen, And by doing that, you can get into a choice. People can tell you, "Oh, I want you to help me in this." But if they don't ask me, I don't say nothing. Even if I have a book written about the thing, like but because sometimes they're cool, just want to share, right? That's tough for me because I'm very consultant guy. If you ask, like, I'm always willing to give you some help. So this is something for me that's like, don't say a shit, don't say thing, no, don't say anything. This is something I'm learning a lot for a couple of years right now. I'm more into, but it's still something I have to kind of mantra going on, like, don't say a thing, just listen, focus. I call that I do that neurolinguistics programming thing. I study that a lot for a lot of years, and I have this mode that I call it podcast mode. And so when I'm going on in one of these meetings, I tell myself podcast mode, and I just listen. So just listen and write. If you want to take notes about what's happening, you can take notes. And I this is a question I do for the person. Like, I do notes. Everything I write, because that's the way I process my mind map or something. So you want this? You want me to share? And what I write is not what I think. It's what comes. So it's not my judgment. It's the words that came. So it's cool for me to share because it's not how I feel about that thing. But it's This is pure learning for me. So I do a lot of that. I'm doing a lot of that during the weeks right now because I want to practice more. So it's real life. So I have to do that more and more. So it's very good. And I learned that from you, Pedro. So it's 2014. Now it was a huge year for me. So I started really paying attention to nonviolent communication and started to getting the real deal about it. There's a funny story. You guys know Cabral, right?
Yeah.
Cabral. So I was at Felipe Cabral's house, and Pedro just came up, and we were talking about Estaleiro Liberdade. I don't know how to translate that, but it's
Shipyard freedom.
yeah, it's a pure process for people to find themselves. I would say it's something like that, right?
Amazing.
And so we were discussing about the next edition of this thing, and Pedro start getting angry about that. I don't remember the situation exactly, and I was like, oh, but that guy is the guy from nonviolent communication. He's angry. What's happening here? Like, there's something wrong. And then when you start learning about nonviolent communication, you start getting that it's not actually about how you talk, it's actually about how you listen. Then after how you talk. So when I figured that was like, yeah, Pedro could be like that because he got all the other people there to support him and listen to his needs.
Yeah.
And then the communication started, and it was like a boom. It's like, when you get something like a whoa. That was one of my whoa moments that I could understand a couple of months later. It was awesome. But it's this whole thing like you can't be the way you are right now because that's you now. So if you are able to listen, let's do that. If you're not, just say it. I'm not cool right now. It's not a good time for us to have this conversation. Can we do it later? And then the process of getting real about the communication starts, right? So this is something very important. I believe these moments even more. So if you're listening to this and you are in HR or something, listen. I guess this is this is a very important thing to do right now.
Do we have time to discuss
I have all the time.
another?
I can do until the baby starts crying.
Perfect, because I wanted to address the issue that most people who would be watching this or listening this will be asking themselves. How do I find the time to invest in that without hurting productivity, without hurting the results, especially if we're like in emergency mode, where we need to save our jobs, we need to save our companies, we need to save ourselves, our family, right? And how do we manage to find the clarity to prioritize this rather than putting out fires that maybe are not there, or maybe they are? How do we do if we have real fires? How do we deal with this?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you real story here. So I haven't done a public course available for people to join me. The last one was 2015. It was 5 years without doing any public course. So people wouldn't know who am I. They call me because they know me for some reason, but I wasn't publicly telling people, "Hey, I'm Daniel. Go to my course here," or something like that. So I have decided to go back again and start doing courses because I have a lot of content that I want to share, and I was like, so how am I going to do that? So I have a lot of fear because I'm going to do this and no one will come. So I start doing, Tim Ferriss got this exercise like a peer setting. So I start doing that. One of my journaling here was based on that. So it's like I'm gonna throw a course to the public and see what's gonna happen. So worst case scenario, no one comes. This is possible. Like I'm gonna run a course tomorrow. There's 11 people, but until 3 days ago, there was 2 people engaged in the course. So I was like, well, should I change the date or something like that? But I was thinking, okay, the worst case scenario, no one comes. What I do? So I remember one experience I had in 2007 because I was going to do a course at the undergraduate course I used to teach. It was summertime. They did a very poor marketing about the course, and I was sure that no one's gonna be there, and I had to travel like I don't know, 20 miles or something like that to go to the place to give the course and then come back. So it was like to be more time on the road than giving the class, something like that. I said, okay, I'm going to record myself. 2007, the cameras were, they suck. But I was like, I'm going to record myself. And if no one comes, I will record myself and I will publish that class for someone. Like, I'm going to give the class to the camera. That's what I'm going to do. And then I use that same resource right now in 2020 to tell me, you just record the course. And if no one comes, you can publish it again online. You can sell it for, $5 or something like that. And it's cool. That made me get the tranquility back again. Like I'm going to use the time to practice my speech and practicing the way I give classes. And if there's only 2 people there, it's going to be the best time for their lives because we're going to be able to share a lot, even more if there are more students or something like that. So the way I play with myself is like, how can I get the tranquility again? Because I need to continue doing my things. So this is one of the process. I kind of start thinking about what is the worst case scenarios and how can I play after that. When we think about stoicism, we think about I don't control what's going to happen, but I control how do I respond to something. So this is something like that, as a partner of a company, we can get in the end of the month and I get to a result where, okay, Daniel, there is no money for you, just for the people who work here, and you're not going to get any money. I just have to say, fine, what do I do now? But I'm not in a position where I can be, oh, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Because it's one of the options. You start a business, the business can fail, the business can need to prioritize money to go somewhere else than your pocket, and you're gonna have to live with that. So the way I process things is much like that. I do a fear setting process, like in worst case scenarios. This is the worst thing that can happen. I am okay with this. Okay, let's move on. You remember a talk we had like 2016 or something, Daniel. I was thinking about changing a company for some time, and my decision making process was much like we got a lot of things in place to think about, but the final thought was I might get one real if I decide to move away. I'm cool with that. This is the worst case scenario. And that thing helped me to build the process to don't get the worst case scenario. But I like to do that. It sounds like, whoa, why do you think the bad thing's going to happen? No, it's not that. Just because if I go to the deepest worst case scenario, anything that I can get up above that, it's very cool. So I can move faster with my thoughts. And I would say, think about that. Think about worst case scenarios. And other thing I would do, and I would do this in the process of creating time. You know, I don't know if you like pizza, enjoy pizza.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you know, I think about two pizzas. The first pizza, you put your current time in there, and the second pizza, you put your what do you wanna, where do you wanna use your time? They're gonna be two different, very different pizzas sometimes, and the decision process: how do I move from here to there? So when I think about saying no to things, this is sort of the process I choose to understand. Like, how can I play with this? How can I make sure that I am choosing the right things to do? And I'm always looking into those two pizzas. Like, is this moving or not? I'm moving to that direction or not. So I used to make a drawing about the pizzas and looking at those every week. So I'm moving to the new pizza or not. So this could be something to create space for having more time for a new project, or it also helps me to look at the previous pizza and say, this project is not happening, so I should drop it. But you can come like, but I have the domain, right? I'm gonna lose the domain, Oh, go get your $5 a year and move on, like something like that. We create excuses to keep the current plans. This is something I challenge myself a lot, Oh, but if you, worst case, okay, if I don't have this, what happened? Nothing. Okay, so I can drop this because nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So this is something I play a lot. Like, it's a way for me to think about future opportunities in my life, and the same thing happened for looking about things that are happening right now.
Yeah.
Should I keep this or not? This is something.
It's a tricky question. I would like to try and answer it as well, because if you have a fire going on, your instinct will be to put it out, and it's hard to know when you shouldn't do it. You should focus on other things. And one thing that maybe you could ask yourself is, if I'm stopping this fire, am I also stopping the process that made that fire start burning?
Very good.
Yeah.
Working on prevention. That's great.
Yes, because if you are trying to do any systemic change, then you'll have to invest some energy on that. But you never know how much energy you're going to need to invest in that to see a cultural change or a systemic change. And so it's really catchy. It's hard to answer. I don't think you have one answer to every case. But one of the things that I think you should consider is if the way you're doing things right now, this way is going to make more fires to start burning tomorrow, because then maybe that will give you some feedback on that if you invest in systemic change, or that means in strategies that you're going to see the difference not tomorrow but next week, next month, and that is going to be a good investment. But it's hard to know. It's case by case scenario, I think.
Yeah, there's one thing that I sensed in both of your approaches, not only to answering this, but to the way you work and operate, that you might we might not understand how hard it is for people who don't take care of this more subtle part of the work, which is taking care of people's emotions and at the same time taking care of processes and productivity, etc. But there's one thing that's obvious to me that might not be obvious to anyone, is that when you invest in people, the results are better. So it's not a conflict. That's the main. I asked the question as if it were because I know people will be thinking about. Sure, you can do it because you've been doing it for ages, because were already a remote company before coronavirus, or because you have the money, which, depending on the way you see it, we do or we don't. But you can always say, but I need to deal with this more urgent thing first before I invest in creating better relationships. In the shortest of terms, it is a conflict, because you will have to see a fire burn to the end if you don't go and put it out. You will have to do it. You have to see and deal with the consequence of that fire burning. But even in the short term, that's not the shortest of terms, the investment already pays off, right? For example, today we had a friend, I won't even say a colleague, a friend of ours that worked with us from the beginning of season, rejoining us temporarily to help us put out a fire, right? And we're investing in doing that. But the way we did it was by bringing him into our retrospective meeting, even though he wasn't here on the previous week. And he participated on the weekend instead of, no, I'm going to straight to work and I need to fix this, whatever. Just because we wanted to know how he's expecting a child. We wanted to know how there's so much has changed in his life since he left us that it didn't make sense for us to treat him like a cog in a machine. Mostly because the reason we're hiring him is because he's more than that, right? We're hiring him because he can create something. If he feels what's happening in that room, that virtual room, on the retrospective meeting, where everybody says what they did not like and what they did like about the past week or so, he might be able to create something that I have no idea what it is. Because we're talking about people here and not machines. So it's a win-win. By having these more humane processes, we're taking care of our own and we're boosting productivity. And I think that's not clear enough for people who have not been doing it.
Yeah, I think Claude Silver has this wording. You can get as a reference for this video too. Like people care about people who care about people. You know that there's a process. Like if you have that as a first thing happening in a company, you know that's why he's participating in the retrospective, because he care about you guys and he wants to do the best in the next week, and you care about him. That's why you're bringing him back and bringing him in the first place in the process. So it all connects. It's, you know, this is awesome. And again, I see lots of people listening to this part right now of this video and saying, bullshit, you know, and that's fine. You can call us 10 years from now and then you tell us how your life is right now. But you know, we need people who care about people. That's the thing, you know. That's how we play. We play as a community first, and then we give something. We give results, and we do everything we need to do. But we started being people. That's the first thing.
Even if you are cutting someone, like if you are, how do you say that in English? Oh my God.
Hiring?
If you're firing someone, even if you're firing someone, you can do it in a main way, because you know why you're firing that person, and how can you take care of that person as if he is part of your community, because he or she. And even then, you have your reasons. You don't need to stop listening to your reasons, but productivity is important, but you do it in a way that helps that person to grow. And you do it even if you can connect that person with other company that might be able to be more productive with him or her. Anyway, but I do think
Very good.
that wraps everything up. What do you think?
Yeah, I would. If I have one extra question, I would ask you guys, how is your decision process works? Like, it's very contextual to projects and people working in that project. How that works in strategic and tactical mode? How do you play with that?
The one thing I know is that I'm an intuitive decision maker. I don't analyze data. If I did, I'd probably be more efficient, but I'd probably be less effective. At least I like to think so. But the way I gather data is by experiencing something for a long time. And for example, we just created it was a decision. I made a decision to invest in creating a framework that reduced 70% of our backend work. We were able to do that, and I was able to do it in 3 weeks, right? But I needed the 2 years of doing the same thing over and over before I had the ability to make the decision. I don't know if someone was doing more a data-driven approach, maybe they would get there faster, maybe not. But that's my decision making. I feel something for a long time until I have the insight of what needs to be changed. And only when I had the insight, I make the decision. Thankfully, I have many insights a day, so I make many decisions a day, but not as big as this one. Not the ones that need a lot of time maturing inside.
That's cool. I think we process decisions in the same sense. Like, I need to feel the frustration. I have to be frustrated. I need to feel the pain before I decided to move something in a different direction or something like that. So it's a kind of we look the same when taking decisions, and I think it's I would say the same. Like, if I have more data, this could help, but I love making questions. And when someone tells me something, they are certain, I'm certain 100% sure about this. Here comes the questions, and there are people who don't like that approach that I have, but I'm curious, and as long as my curiosity is higher than my frustration, percentage, I'm moving on that thing, and I'm not dropping it. This is something I'm always thinking about. Questions make my process always questioning things and try different options and see how it goes. Very cool. Very cool.
I think that's one part where I have a different approach. I ask less questions and observe more, but I don't observe in the sense of listening much, because I'm not the guy that sits and listen a lot in a conversation, but in observing over time without asking. And sometimes this gets me in trouble, especially in relationships, right? Because I don't say the things I should have said. But at the same time, it helps me really look for the insight from the pain or from feeling something for a long time. But I don't ask as many questions as you do.
I know. I think my most recent insight about decision making, and I think it was inspired by you, Daniel, but I'm not sure right now, is when I noticed that most of the time I'm understanding a decision that I have already made. And that was like life changing. It changed my perspective a lot. And I don't know what it means. It surely means that I'm not as much in control of my life as I hope to be. And that I'm kind of trying to surf the flow the better way that I can, the best way that I can. And one thing that I know is that I'm constantly checking if I'm learning from what I'm doing. And when I feel that I'm learning less, that and it's similar to your curiosity versus frustration. I really love to hear that, because what I'm constantly checking is my learning process. That tends to keep me running, and with some security of that what I'm doing is a good thing.
I don't have more questions.
I do feel that we could keep this for like 2 hours more or something.
Yeah. But it was
Awesome,
great
guys.
to connect with you guys and share some stories. And very good. Very good.
Thank you very much for inviting us, and for you two for being able for us to do this talk. It was amazing.
That's it. And for those who are listening to us, remember, before you want to work, take care of people.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I really enjoyed it.
Bye.
It's always a pleasure.